the North London child abuse case. And we'll say to our audience today that we have been aware of this case from the beginning. There's been a lot moving behind the scenes, some of which we can talk about and some of which we can't. However, for the first time, a video of two young children talking about serious sexual abuse, not only of themselves, but other children and babies. And indeed, these youngsters are talking about the murder of other children. The video has now appeared globally on the internet. So we've chosen to anonymize the images of the two children. We think this is fair enough. If you visit YouTube, it's easy enough now to find the video of these two young children taken. And of course, the video was taken before there was any involvement with the family courts. So what actually went on in this incident? Well, we're just going to give you a little snapshot of the timeline of the Golders Green child abuse cover-up. It started out with a mother and her partner discovering that the children had been abused, and we're talking about serious abuse, child abuse rings operating in local schools and churches, and it's also talking about children being murdered in the North London Golders Green area. The children identified close family members as abusers, as well as people connected with social services and other officials. The mother does the right thing. She goes to Barnet Social Services and Barnet Police for help. Within 24 hours, social services have used a secret family court to remove the children into care, and the mother, who is the protector of those children, is immediately denied contact. Within 24 hours, the Met Police, who are informed of the abuse, are allegedly threatened by other police officers to get their noses out. So once police officers had been told within the Met, they were warned off by other members of the Metropolitan Police. We understand that the Met Police Satanic Investigation Unit took no action, but within a week, the Met claimed that the children have retracted their statements. These two youngsters, 8 and 9 years old, but if we're to believe the police, they retracted their statements. And at a secret family court, in the secret family court proceedings, insiders now allege that social services barristers called for evidence to be destroyed. And by evidence, we believe they're referring to the videos. And of course, what does the local authority say? Well, here's the website, Multi-Agency Safeguarding Hub. So the moment children speak out about their abuse, the hub ensures the cover-up, presumably. And we'll run on the quality of our politicians. This is David Cameron speaking about Leon Britton. He described him as dedicated and fiercely intelligent public servant. And David Cameron said as a central figure in Margaret Thatcher's government, he helped her transform our country. There's the word, Mike, you're talking about the Constitution. Transform our country for the better by giving distinguished service as Chief Secretary of the Treasury, Home Secretary and Secretary of State for Trade and Industry. Well, here's Mr. Cameron as far as the independent's concerned. And of course, he's been accused by other politicians, including Simon Danzuk, of wanting to move on and get away from allegations of paedophilia amongst politicians. And he also says, well, let's pay off the children. Rotherham child sex abuse victims will get cash, David Cameron says. So here's the buy-off, never mind bringing the abusers into court for proper trial and punishment. What does David Cameron want to do? Buy off the victims. But that's not all, because as David Cameron is showing, his real priority at the moment is not institutional child abuse, abusers in Westminster and the establishment. No, he's tweeting out that he's been taking selfies. So we just like to say, how long must the British nation suffer this Prime Minister who is clearly defective? We think
it's clearly only a few more months, and then we get another defective Prime Minister.
Well, we're beginning Nick Clegg, who ran away, of course, at the big rally in London when he was asked by Bill Maloney what Nick Clegg, had done to help stop institutional child abuse. So we're going to get rid of defective Cameron, and we're going to replace him with Nick Clegg, who has run away from child abuse anyway. And of course, as we always say, we're not making any of this up. It's freely available in the mainstream press, provided you know where to look. And we get more clues as to the establishment cover-up in the UK. Tribune here reporting on an ex-spook who admits giving big names to the Conservative MP Dickinson in the so-called sex dossier. So lots of information in this article, which we encourage you to read. But here we've got one of the officials who should certainly know what was going on, saying that big names were included. Exaro reminded us, quite rightly, that as Home Secretary from 1983 to 85 in Margaret Thatcher's government, Britain was responsible for the police special branch and the security service MI5. So maybe that's why nobody knew about Jimmy Savile, nobody knew about paedophiles in government, because a man being accused was in fact in control of all the security agencies. And we get another part of this from the BBC here, where it's reporting that GCHQ will be helping to tackle the dark net and child abuse images. But we say to our audience today, let's look at this a little bit more deeply, because what is really going on here is that David Cameron and the BBC are obfuscating, they're blurring the issue of child abuse to nudge people away from the idea that there are paedophiles in power. So basically, the security services who have failed to investigate paedophiles in government are now apparently the same people tasked to investigate online abuses. We've also got David Cameron saying that online child exploitation is almost industrial in scale. But how would he know that if GCHQ, MI5 and MI6 are simply unable to identify and warn of paedophiles in government? Well, overall, the BBC message is that, of course, paedophiles are anonymous individuals who do their work online. So the BBC, once again, helping to divert public attention away from victims and evidence coming forward that political and establishment people abuse. And, of course, those same establishment figures are above the law. Pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Well, something that comes through to us constantly is criticism from people who allege they've been abused for the so-called authorities and institutions that say they are there to help them. And we have to say that we've had a lot of criticism pointed at NSPCC. We're investigating this to see whether it's justified. But this was pointed out to us today, and many people unhappy about it. There is a cartoon available on the NSPCC site which says, "Share, aware, help your child stay safe on social networks." And it's a cartoon all about a little boy having a picture taken of his willy, which is then pushed out over the internet. And what was said to us is this NSPCC making a joke out of online grooming? So we'll leave you to think about that, but it was very interesting, the comments we got in pouring scorn really on NSPCC's efforts there to protect children.